Aloha, everyone, in another level living land. Welcome to another episode of Freedom Fridays. So happy that you're here because we are in store for an awesome treat. We have an incredible special guest, and she's going to be sharing with us about growing your marriage while growing your business. Growing your marriage while growing your business. Yes, yes, and yay. So, first, I want to share with you before I introduce her is what is the purpose of the show? The purpose of the Freedom Friday show is to support you as an entrepreneur in achieving your success in business and life harmony, because it really is two sides of the same coin. We never want to get so busy making a living that we forget to make a life. And it is possible to work smarter, stress less, strengthen our relationships so that lead with much more energy, ease, and momentum so we can increase our confidence, our calm, and our cash and client flow. So put a yes in the chat if you're so ready for more of that. And please give a warm welcome to our special guest, Dr. Chavonne Perotte. Dr. Chavonne, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Heather. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. This is going to be incredible because really our marriage and our business, that's the essence of business and life harmony, right? So let me share with you, everyone who's listening, who is Dr. Chavonne Perotte? Dr. Chavonne Perotte is a life and marriage coach who helps high achieving individuals thrive, build thriving families alongside successful careers and growing businesses. She works with couples and professionals who want more than just getting through their relationship. They want to feel connected, supported, and genuinely happy together. In her work, Dr. Chavonne teaches the relationship skills most of us were never taught: how to communicate effectively, how to understand each other deeply, and how to navigate differences without turning into adversaries. Her approach helps couples break the pattern that create distance and instead build partnerships that are strong, connected, and resilient. Dr. Chavonne believes that when a marriage is healthy and supportive, it becomes one of the greatest sources of strength a person can have while building a meaningful business and life. Oh my goodness, Dr. Chavonne, that is so good. Thank you for your work and your service in the world. This is something that's so needed, and I'm just so grateful that you are here. So we're talking about growing your marriage while growing your business. From your perspective, can you tell us why is this something that's so important for us, especially for those of us who are entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think here's the thing about the entrepreneurs that I know that are drawn to this work and to you, like your community. We get into entrepreneurship because we care. We get into it because there is a passion inside of us, some gift we have that we want to be able to share with the world. And we see it so much as a part of our purpose. And so when you consider your work in the world as part of you fulfilling your purpose, there is no separation between that and your personal life. Like your work is your life is your work. They exist in harmony, right? And so when it comes to growing your business, your marriage is the environment that you are like marinating in all of the time, right? It is the most important adult relationship that you will choose for yourself, and it dictates so much about the quality of your life. And so, if you are building something meaningful in your work, if you're building something meaningful in your entrepreneurial pursuits, there's no way that growing your marriage won't also be an essential part of your journey. So,
Oh my goodness. So good. You know, one of the questions that was coming as you were talking is like, what are some of the, because it's interesting. A lot of times, especially depending on where we were growing up or what the belief systems and stuff were around us, we can tend to focus on like one area of life. Like I always used to say, like, I'm really great at business and the relationships was like, oh my goodness, super complicated until I understand what was really going on, right? And how to be able to have harmony between both of them. But based on what your perspective is, what are some of the common challenges or some of the common signs that you see generally with people coming to you? Like, how do they know that it's out of disharmony? Can you bring some
Yeah.
awareness to that, some of those challenges and pain
Yeah,
points?
absolutely. So I'll talk specifically to those in business, right? Because I see clients in a lot of different spaces, but the thread that is throughout all of my clients is they are high achieving. And I'm going to tell this story based on my story because it was a part of my journey that I didn't expect. So I graduate school, doctorate, like soared in career, right? Did all the things, checked all the boxes. And then we started our family. And at that time, I decided to be home. And while on maternity leave, I started my business. And I found coaching, fell in love with coaching. And what I didn't realize happened for me was all of that high achievement ambition that I had used in my professional career outside of my own business just transferred to the business. And so someone who, very successful out in the work world, now starting a business where my skills were there, but I didn't know anything about running a business. And so what I found for myself was that all of the drive that had sort of come naturally to me out in the outside professional world then shuffled to building my business. But as I was failing, as I was struggling, as I was figuring out how to actually be an entrepreneur and not just a coach, which came naturally to me, I found that like my sense of identity was the thing I was chasing. And so whenever you are building something from a place of lack, you're going to misappropriate your energy, right? And so, because I needed my business to be successful to validate my identity and who I saw myself was, the marriage took a back seat. And all I thought about was, I've got to work, I've got to work, I've got to work, I've got to work, I've got to. And my husband, is like, looking at like, okay, we're investing a lot and you're not really making a lot of money. So in those early days, it created strain because he didn't get it. And his only experience was, I don't get why she's like working so hard at this thing. That's literally her choice to do, right? And also now we have another child, right? And our time together is already diminished, and now she has another baby in this business. And so I share all of that because I fell into the mistake that I think some couples do, because our marriages feel like this stable thing that's just always going to be there. We keep telling ourselves the story, I'll get to it later, I'll do that later, I'll talk to them later, I'll make time later. And our business can sometimes become that shiny object where there's always a new skill to learn. There's always a new strategy to employ. There's always more people to be meeting and sharing about what we do. And we get a dopamine hit out of that, out of the novelty, out of the challenge. And our relationship is just sitting there stable. But what we don't recognize is stability doesn't mean that it's not slowly diminishing and slowly whittling away that connection that actually has to be nurtured, that actually needs to grow at the same time.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And it's interesting. Like, I know that a lot of our listeners, including me, was listening and like, yeah, I remember that we could connect to pieces of it. That's one of the reasons why we talk about a lot of times we can get so automatic on focusing on the business that even these relationships that we think, okay, they're there, we got this. And then when you add babies, oh my goodness, after each baby, it's like, oh my goodness, someone else's mind, thoughts, energy, and emotion that is in my space. So I'm so proud of you for being able to share this and having that experience actually allowed you to, and even me too, to be even better of service, because now we know how to be able to have harmony in our family, as well as in our business, as well as in our life. Okay, so thank you so much for highlighting those challenges. Now that we know kind of what's coming, and you mentioned something too, how it's like it can be subtle. Like, this is one of the things. Okay, what are my agreements in business that I shifted? One of them was no more evening meetings, no more weekends. When I'm off, and I'm totally mom and wife. Like, those agreements were something that was so powerful to put in place. from your perspective, what are some tips and some strategies that can support us in being able to grow both our marriage and our business? Because we don't have to have a great past to have a great future. All we always talk about healing the past, living more in the present, having expanded our vision of our future. So that's the beautiful thing when we're talking about both our business and our relationship there, as well as our marriage and our relationship there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I love about what you did, and I had to put some boundaries on time as well, right? So it's like you put some boundaries to protect, and then it's about making sure you're making those deposits. So the main thing that I recommend every couple at every stage really start instituting is a weekly marriage check-in. And that is just a conversation, an opportunity for you to really like just check in. How are we doing? What's working well? And what's one thing we want to pay attention to? And the framing of that is really important. I think sometimes, depending on the dynamics in the relationship and depending on the individuals, those conversations can feel like, oh no, we're going to the principal's office, there's something wrong. But when you make it as part of the regular fabric and the regular health of the marriage, it really creates an openness. And so when you're both coming to the table knowing that in this conversation, we're going to come sharing what's working for us and also one thing that we want to pay more attention to, it really helps you both come as your best selves, prepared to both give and receive feedback. And I think with marriage, sometimes the communication breakdowns and the communication misses that we have with each other is when we're like passing, we're just like in the kitchen getting some water and we make a comment and it catches our partner off guard, or we're saying something sarcastic because we haven't developed the emotional safety to actually sit down and have a conversation with it. So these moments of intentional connecting, intentional conversation already set the stage for a more productive exchange. So that I would say by far is the most important deposit that you can make to grow your marriage. Yeah.
Love
I could
that.
go
I
on forever.
love that so much. This was so good. Y'all been write this down because this was something that was just so powerful. A weekly marriage check-in. And I loved how you talked about it could be like, oh, we're going to the principal's office. And it's like it could kind of probably initially be like, okay, what in the world is going on? Maybe there's like a little, but over time, as it consistently grows, it creates more of an openness. And you put the nail on the head when you were talking about these miscommunications that's happening. We talk about that here at Another Level Living because you may say something that means one thing and then they interpret it a totally different way. And it's like all kind of confusion. So this part of having this intentional connection is just going to strengthen the communication in the family unit overall. So I love that. Okay, what
Yeah,
else? What
yeah. The
else?
second, the second most important thing you can do is get in the habit of asking yourself, what kind of partner do I want to be? So, as a business owner, you're always thinking about who you want to be as a leader, who you want to be as a service provider, how you want to leave your mark on your audience, on your clients, what's the transformation you're supporting them in creating if you're a coach. And we want to apply the same system in our marriage. Again, marriage can sometimes get in those states of set it and forget it. I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I'm a partner, whatever the case may be. And that's just who I am. But you always want to be intentional about that. And so, as you're thinking about what's going to grow my business, make my business better, also be asking that same kind of question with your marriage. What is my marriage needing of me, requiring of me? Where can I grow inside this marriage? And I think, I work with both couples and individuals, but I always tell people, even in the couple work, each of you has your lane that is contributing to the dynamic, whatever the dynamic is, whether the marriage is so-so, whether the marriage is good, or whether the marriage is really great. There's something and a very specific role that you are playing. And so when you ask yourself, who do I want to be as a partner, it puts you back in the driver's seat of influencing that dynamic, so that if you're noticing, oh, we're really missing each other, or we're really in a lot of conflicts later, these small conversations are turning into big arguments, really being able to take a moment and understand, well, what's going on inside of me and what's my growth edge here? What is it that I need to be paying attention to inside of me that really could help shift this dynamic?
My goodness, this is so good. When you talked about it puts you back in the driver's seat, that was like a really pivotal point by just asking this question. I usually talk about we can either be the victim, where it's so good to be able to be in the victim and the blame and the, pointing fingers. And a lot of times as we're pointing fingers, there's three pointing back at us. But that part about being able to go inside and be aware of what's going on. Okay, how can I show up differently? It also highlights the power of emotional intelligence. We can't control the things that are happening, but we can control how we respond. And that's our greatest power in stepping into our unique ownership and leadership and greatness in this. Because there are the differences, there's a beauty in the differences, and there's also the beauty in the similarities. So each of us as uh, a a partner, we have our own unique talents that we bring and gifts that we bring into. So I
Mhm.
really love that part about, okay, how can I show up differently?
Yeah.
And when we change how things, the way that we see things, everything, the way that we see
Everything we
shifts.
see changes. Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing I want to say, because my business when I started is called Relatable, because it is so important to me that I speak to your real life, right? So it's like you can hear a marriage person, yes, Dr. Chavonne, I should be asking, how do I show up as my best self, right? Like I know that. But let me tell you, when my partner does X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank with your specific thing, all of that goes out the window. And so I want to speak to that because we have to recognize that, like, showing up as your best self when there's some underlying resentment, or when your partner isn't showing up as their best self, we then make negotiations with ourselves, like, oh well, if they're not doing it, I'm not going to do it, or I'm so mad or frustrated, my anger and the way I'm behaving is justified. And so here's the connecting bridge that helps you
Yes.
walk across that path of resistance, because there are some times when you are going to know that you could have said it differently, interacted differently, handled it differently, and you chose the other path, right?
Yeah.
What helps you keep walking the path that you want to be on? I say it very simply: keep the main thing the main thing. The only reason that you are ever frustrated or disappointed or hurt or angry at an experience you've had with your partner is because an expectation was missed. And that expectation was one born out of the desire for connection, for partnership, for
Mm.
support, for love, for care, for unity. Like, you're upset because you wanted something beautiful, you wanted something honorable in your relationship that didn't happen. But a lot of times we take ourselves and we take our eyes off of, really what I wanted was to feel cared for or attended to or supported or connected. We forget that, and the anger takes over, or the disappointment takes over, or the frustration takes over, and we go down that road. So keep the main thing in your marriage, in this beautiful relationship where you've chosen each other. What you always want the most is to be in a loving connection with each other.
Nice. Oh my goodness, that is so good. It was reminding me, the scripture that I have in my kitchen is, "Let all that you do be done in
Done
love."
in love. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, and it was
Yes.
there was something that I had heard a quote. I can't remember where it came from. I think The Power of a Praying Wife, and it was talking about do right more than be right, and give love more than get even. Because a lot of times
Mm.
we're in those, like, those negative emotions. Think of it, it can override,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
oh, that's so good. Okay. How can we continue this journey with you, Dr. Shimon? How can we continue this journey? Do you have a free gift or something that you can give us?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So marriages grow through conversation and connection. So I have a resource that I'm gifting you all. It's called the Marriage Maintenance Guide. It is a guided conversation. You can use it as one of your first marriage check-ins. And it's 10 essential questions that every couple needs to be asking. It will ask, what are you wanting in the relationship? Where are things working well? Where's something you can pay attention to? But it really is a very easy, structured way to have the conversation. What I often find is usually in partnerships, there's one person who's more comfortable having these conversations, who can start it up, from scratch and really be able to express themselves and know exactly what they want to say. And then they're partnered with someone who struggles. You may ask your partner, like, well, what do you want in this marriage? What are your expectations? And they just may not be able to pull their thoughts together in a coherent way to express it to you. So, this guide, very specific, very structured questions that take all of the guesswork out of those conversations to really kind of level the communication playing field for you, to open up those lines of communication. And then it points you in the direction of the things that you want to be paying more attention to, of where your marriage can grow and support you as individuals, as a home, as a family, and of course, by extension, helping you thrive in your business as well.
Oh my goodness, this is so good. What a precious and special gift, Dr. Chavonne. Everyone who's listening, make sure you click on the link in the show notes so therefore you can get access to Dr. Chavonne's free gift. That's incredible because guess what? It supports especially that first starting the process of the weekly marriage check-in, right?
Yeah. It's your
Amazing.
first conversation.
Oh my goodness. Based on everything that you shared with us, what would be the biggest takeaway that you want to leave us with today?
I think the biggest takeaway that I love to share with people is you and your partner are both wanting the same thing. And we could probably do a whole nother episode on what if it feels like your partner isn't supporting you in your business, or they don't understand what you're doing and all of that stuff. And at the end of the day, they want you to win. You want them to win. You both want to win together. And so, again, the more that you remember that we win by being intentional, we win by being conscious of the ways that we are showing up, conscious of the ways that we are loving each other and loving ourselves, because the degree to which you can express love and give love and grow a relationship with someone else is a function of the relationship you have with yourself. And so, remembering you both want the same thing, and that growth is a part of creating that.
Oh my goodness, that is so good. Everyone who is listening, we want to hear your wisdom too. Put your biggest takeaway in the comments below. And oh my goodness, Dr. Chavonne, thank you so much for sharing this wisdom. Everyone who's listening, take advantage of Dr. Chavonne's free gift. Make sure you connect with her on all her social media. And I'm so grateful that you were able to share this journey with us, because that's exactly what business and life harmony is all about, creating your peace on all sides. And you've gotten the wisdom today to be able to support that at another level. Go ahead, if you were given this inspiration and the power and possibility of growing both your marriage as well as your business, go ahead and share this message out to your world and give someone else that gift as well. Let this message marinate into your mind, body, and soul. Dr. Chavonne, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today. And everyone in Another Level Living Land, we look forward to seeing you again next week for another episode of Freedom Fridays, and have an amazing rest of the day. Bye, everyone.